just when I try to think that I'm let me make a voice recording, my throat starts getting irritated. And this was just going to be just a random. And there you go. Hello to distractions. Anyway, what I wanted to say, this is going to be either quick or I don't know how long it's going to be. But it's about ghosting. Welcome back. If you're coming back, you're welcome if it's your first time. So, I will not lie to you if I tell you that I get extremely mad and pissed off when somebody calls me and I'm busy. And then I tell them I will get back to them later on. And later on I get back to them and they don't answer the phone. I say, okay, they are also busy. But then they get back to me 1 week later on. 1 week later on, or maybe even many days later on. And then when I ask, they are just like, no, I was just saying hi. I mean, for example, most of them generally, they call early in the morning, and I'm a late person because sometimes we don't have a disciplined sleeping schedule in our house. So I end up sleeping late at night. So I'm asleep during early morning hours. And then this person calls early time and they're like, I was just saying hi. And they ghost you for a period of a certain time later on. Because when they call, I'm used to having calls. If it's early in the morning, it means it's something urgent. Or there's something important which needs to be addressed. That's why people call me during those times. Otherwise, if it's people who really know me, they know that I'm asleep during that time. So they don't call me at that time. Usually they call it during the evening times. And so this thing about being ghosted, you ghost people for a certain period of time just because of your ego. When you called, they didn't pick up the phone or they were not available, and then you want to prove something. You take it personal. Oh, now why is it that I'm not allowed to speak? Or somebody is trying to interfere so that I don't say anything. Ghosting people is something which is very irritating. It's so irritating. And when you ghost someone, it is just like sort of a narcissistic kind of a thing. Okay, don't mind the sounds in the background. My kid is playing. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, it is like a silent treatment that the narcissists use over you to have power over you, to prove that they are more superior over you, or to just get your attention so that you give all your attention towards them. And that's narcissistic in a way. Why do people ghost people? Why? For what reason other than just to torture them and make them have some sort of some kind of a psychological breakdown towards the situation, so that people will start doubting themselves, and so that next time when you call, they immediately answer your calls. and you're programming them, you're manipulating them, trying to make them fit according to how you want them to be. And that's nothing but manipulation. At least that's how I understand about ghosting. That's nothing but manipulation towards the person. You just want to have a certain kind of a control over the person, controlling their mind. You're living rent-free in their mind and making them think about, well, now why did they ghost me? Why aren't they calling? Or you're calling and they're not answering. And you're sending messages, they're not even answering the messages. It's like they're not answering in any way, and this makes you feel doubtful about what you're doing, or it makes you doubt yourself, and you start thinking there's something wrong which you might have done to those people. And yet there is nothing like that. It might not be like that. Most of the time, generally, it is just the other person trying to control you of how you should react towards them. They're trying to control your reaction. And this is not healthy at all. It's not. Because if someone tries to control another human being over something, that just means there is something wrong with that person who is trying to control the other person. That is why they're doing that thing. And they have to work on themselves first before they do such kind of crazy antics. It's a crazy antic, type of an antic. And this usually happens with people whom you hardly expect to have such kind of things. First, they gain your trust. And once you are now feeling relaxed with them in your relationship, they start doing such kind of crazy things, and you start feeling anxious. It's just to get a reaction from you. And that's just a way of trying to manipulate you. It's just being narcissistic, to be precise. That's all. So when they stop responding to messages, calls, or any form of contact without offering any closure or reason for the abrupt silence, ghosting can occur in any relationship, but it's especially common in online dating or early stage relationships with people. And there are several reasons why someone might ghost another person, apart from what I've just explained. Some are trying to avoid confrontation. Some people might not want to have an uncomfortable conversation, that's why. For me, it's being rude, but sometimes it might not be what we think sometimes. So some people are just trying to avoid confrontation after doing something, or they think you might have judgment over them, so they ghost you. And some other people, it might be lack of interest. The person might lose interest without knowing how to communicate that directly, so they ghost you. There might be fear of hurting feelings. Maybe they've done something and they don't want to say the truth to you, so they believe that disappearing is less painful than telling you the truth. Emerging personal issues can also lead to ghosting sometimes. Life events, family emergencies, mental health struggles, or work stress. I mean, why am I saying this? I'm telling you this because you might get pissed off just like how I get pissed off, but sometimes there might be a real reason as to why people ghost other people. And this is one of the reasons: emerging personal issues, life events, emergencies. The person might have mental health struggles, or they have work stress, so they ghost. And this might cause someone to pull away without explaining. And it's for some people it's just easier. For some, especially in casual or digital relationships, ghosting is simply seen as the easy way out. And for you who is having all the ghosting sent to you, it might make you have emotional pain, and you might be left behind feeling abandoned or unworthy. I'm saying this now because for those people who are ghosting, to know what they are doing to other people. Some are consciously aware of what they're doing, but some people are not aware. So you leave a person with emotional pain, and you end up start thinking what went wrong for the person who has been ghosted. I mean, you start having loss of closure because you don't have a closure. Everything is just hanging in air right now. You don't know what to do right now, and it makes you anxious. It's hard for the ghosted individual to gain closure, and it makes it difficult to move on. And that's what narcissists just want to do. Most of the time, they don't want you to move on. They want to torture you. So at the same time, it makes you have trust issues. You start losing trust in people, and this makes you isolate yourself from other people, and you stop being authentic in any way, in any kind of future relationship. And you end up having low self-esteem. People often internalize being ghosted, believing they did something wrong or aren't good enough, and that's not true. It has nothing to do with you. It is all has to do with the person who ghosted. It's something to do with them. It has nothing to do with you. So how do you cope when you're being ghosted? Just accept it. It's not about you. Often ghosting is more about the person doing the ghosting than about you. Their inability to communicate effectively or their lack of maturity doesn't reflect your worth. Seek closure for yourself. Sometimes closure doesn't come from the other person. It comes from within. Give yourself the space to let go and accept that you may never get the answers you're looking for. Talk it out to somebody. Share your feelings with a trusted friend or a therapist. Talking about your experience can help you process the emotions and prevent you from internalizing the rejection because you feel rejected. And don't go about chasing. Don't chase. While it might be tempting to reach out multiple times, it's important to respect that the other person has chosen to go silent. Chasing them can leave you stuck in a cycle of hope and disappointment. So focus on self-care. Engage in activities that make you feel good and reassert your self-worth. Take care of your mental and physical health and surround yourself with supportive people. And look at the bigger picture. In the grand scheme of things, being ghosted by someone who doesn't communicate properly is a red flag. You deserve better. Someone who is willing to communicate openly and honestly. So look at the bigger picture. See it as a blessing for you. You have just been saved from something which is negative for you. So this is what I wanted to share because there was something that happened and it feels like there's some kind of ghosting and some people really can disappoint you, you know. You trust people and they disappoint you. So be careful when you're dating online, using all these dating apps and social media. Ghosting has become a widespread phenomenon. It's easier than ever to stop responding to someone without much consequence. And for example, with the scamming thing which I had, I needed answers, but I couldn't get through to anyone to give me the answers for my money. And they ghosted me. And it's awful. It psychologically disintegrates somebody. It hurts you very much. So be careful when you're having your online dating apps. Yeah, I don't know all those apps. I've never used any of them. maybe once when I was in my 20s, but I can't remember using them later on. And in social media, when you're having friendship, you meet somebody in social media and then they ghost you. Just accept it and move on. Don't think it has anything to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It's all about the other person. It has nothing to do with you. In working places, when you're emailing somebody and they don't answer you, they stop attending meetings, or somebody abruptly disappears. That can happen in workplaces. So if you want to avoid ghosting, be honest early on. If you're not if you want to avoid ghosting others, for example, it's you who might end up ghosting somebody, be honest from early on. I'm talking about people who are ghosting. Please be honest from beginning. If you're not interested or you no longer want to engage with someone, communicate that clearly and kindly rather than just disappearing. Set expectations. If you're busy or going through something, let the other person know when you'll be available again, or if you need space. Clear communication goes a long way. Stay respectful, please. Even if you're not interested in continuing a relationship, maintaining respect for the other person's feelings is important. And learn to say no. If you're not interested with somebody or you don't want to be speaking with them, be clear about your boundaries, and saying no when something isn't right is better than simply ghosting. And sometimes we can also do that, but we have to, it's just because we have to learn to say no. While ghosting is common, it is also important to know that it's not always the healthiest or most respectful approach. It's a reflection of a lack of accountability. So it's essential to own up to your actions and be considerate of others' feelings. Healthy relationships, whether romantic, friendly, or professional, require open communication. And with that, I hope it helps somebody. And it became a bit long, I think. And with that, because I had to part it into two parts. One was just a random talk, and the other one was the steps. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody. And till next time, take care and God bless.